That's the one I want. Okay, cool. All right. So again, thank you so much for coming. This evening's virtual coaching is about the charismatic personality types, and we have many different types. And you would have seen in the emails that I've sent you the number of different types that we have. We're going to be working with throughout this the next couple of months before the retreat is actually going on. So let's get into it. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, a charismatic person is one who uses their compelling charm and their special traits to attract, inspire, and fascinate others. These are a few people that you would know that are charismatics, just to give you an example. In 2020 and 21, before the COVID really hit, we had the Australian Bureau of Statistics were running surveys between ages of 16 and 85 years of age. Over 2 in 5 people had experienced what they call mental disorder at some point in their life. 1 in 5 people had a 12-month mental disorder. What that means is they had the symptoms of that disorder in the 12 months prior to the survey. Remember, this is before COVID. So there were 4.4 million people in Australia who had experienced mental disorder at some point. What do they say is mental disorder? It's anxiousness, being overwhelmed, anxiety, stress. Okay. And some people, I teach a TAFE, as many of you are aware, and I have a lot of students who tell me that they have a mental disorder. And I said, well, what do you mean? They said, oh, I'm just too stressed. I can't cope with life. And it's like, I'm talking about children here. I'm talking about, when I say children, I'm talking from 18 plus in the college. So I think they're really alarming statistics when you look at it from that perspective. And that's the ABS talking. The Forbes Council members, they did surveys also around the same time frame about how the new workplace. So this is now, we're going into now post-COVID, okay? So post-COVID is where people are looking for meaning and purpose in their life. What's more important than ever before? So there's an article there. I'm going to give you all of these links. Those who attend tonight, I'm going to send you an email with these links if you'd like to look at this information further. In fact, I might put it on my website, and you can just have a look at it. Also, the Gartner research. So how the pandemic has changed people's lives, people's work lives. So there's a graph there on the right-hand side. They on the left, they disagree. They neither agree nor disagree, and they agree strongly. You can see all the yellow, how they all agree. They've shifted their attitude about the value of things outside work. They rethink the place that work should have in their life. They're making bigger changes in their life. They've changed their perspective on the desirability of their workplace. It's made them want to contribute more to society. And they've raised the question, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? So I just wanted to give you those stats, because they're not my stats, of course. They're from, organizations that are very, very well respected for their research. And I think it's quite alarming, which is one of the reasons why I decided I wanted to do this webinar series, and also the wellness retreat. So moving along, if you look here, this is also Gartner. What are people looking for? What do they want? They want flexibility. They want flexibility in all aspects of their life, not just in their work. They want to feel autonomous. They want to feel valued. They want personal growth, not just professional growth, but they want personal growth as well. They want to feel like people care. Do you care for them in a holistic sense? So when we're looking at the office and we're looking at our team and we're looking at our family, if you're not working, our family and the people around us in our life, do we provide an environment where we're wanting to increase the well-being of those people that we love and cherish? Do we care enough for their well-being? They want to feel more invested. They want a shared purpose. They want to be able to look at the purpose of if they are at work, their objectives, and mission, and their vision, and they want to be able to share that. And it's got to streamline in with their own, or vice versa. So not just talking about these wonderful this purpose in our workplace, or the vision, the mission in our workplace. Put it into action. Invest in it. And they want to feel totally understood. They want deeper connections to their family, to their community, not just work. So this is all post-COVID. This information from Gartner, 2023. It was finalized. So I think this information is quite eye-opening if you really look at it. So what this series tonight is about, excuse me, is I want you to be able to increase your self-awareness and awareness of other people. And I'm working with neuroscience, so the brain science behind it. It's not just talk. This has been around for a very long time. So be self-aware and also be aware of other people, their behaviors and their actions. Being able to read that behavior and know what to do with it. Know what you need to do for that individual at that point in time. The way that I work through this is with using a framework called the Enneagram. And this series begins tonight with charismatics. And the charismatics on the Enneagram, there's nine points on that diagram, and I'll go into that in more detail in just a moment. But there are 9 points, and the 2 here on the right-hand side is what I call the nurturer. The other one, the other charismatic is the 7 over the left-hand side, and that's what I call the innocent adventurer. It's also called the enthusiast. So what's the Enneagram? It's documented, it's been around, believed to be around since around 6,000 years BC. In a place called Sumer, which is nowadays Iran, Iraq. And they know through records that the philosophers used it, Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. It's a mathematical tool that describes the fundamental laws of development, from everything in the cosmos to a newborn child. In the 70s, Oscar Ichazo, he introduced it again after his teachings from his master, and then he looked at it from the point of the viewpoint of, if we liken this to the ego, where the ego is considered to be a barrier to our own transformation, the barrier means there are 9 dysfunctional ways of thinking. So that model has been used now since the 70s, and it grows and develops and evolves over the amount of people who were using it. I'm so sorry. The amount of people that are using it, and also it's across the globe. So it's a roadmap for improving our self-awareness, understanding who we are, who am I, and why do I do what I do, and improving your emotional intelligence, not just of self, but of other people. So again, I've been teaching this for the last 10 years in leadership workshops, and it's very, very well received across Australia. So that's a little bit of history about the Enneagram. Here are some Enneagrams also. This is, another couple. I've already showed you one. There are many different ways we can use the Enneagram. I'm not going to go into very, very much detail right now, but there are many, many ways, and it would depend on what I'm wanting to achieve when I'm working with a client, a coaching client, as to which model. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's all based around the Enneagram, but we can enter through different avenues, so different portholes, if you like. And there are different reasons why we do that, and I'm going to get into that shortly. There are also a combination of types. So we have competency outlook people. They're looking at competency. They want checklists. They've got checklists. That's those people. Then we have a positive outlook personality. So the blue, of course, is the 1, 3, and 5. The positive outlook is the green, which is the 2, the 7, which are charismatics, and also the 9. And then we have the reactive people. They're usually very, very highly controlling people, and they are the 8, the 4, and the 6. And we're going to look at how that whole thing fits into what we're doing here, moving on and into the wellness retreat coming up in springtime. Married together with the Enneagram, I've put together a program. I actually have my own coaching program, and it's called Archetypes of the Enneagram. And I've actually embraced into that the hero's journey. This is the hero's journey. The hero's journey was written by Joseph Campbell. I'll also give you some links on where to find information on that if you'd like it. So the hero's journey is on the right-hand side, on the top quadrant right-hand side. We've got the childhood stage of your adventure, not as a child, but so we all have many, many different ventures going on at any given time. So this is the childhood of the adventure. Then the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the adolescence, that's the teenager. Then we've got the young adult on the left-hand side bottom, and then we go back to the top, of course, where we have the mature adult. But what does that mean? So let's say, for example, you in a job interview you've been for recently, or you're changing your career. So, for example, we'll start at the top right-hand corner. So there's a call to adventure. You decide at some point that you want to do something different, that you want to move on. You don't have a lot of awareness around it right now, but you are wanting to do something with it. You want to follow this pathway. So as we've researched some more, so you might have done that in your studies, you might have done it in the job that you were doing. You then become more aware of the need for change within you in order to move forward with this. But there's a fear. When the fear jumps in, we can sometimes refuse the call. And refusal of the call means we turn around, we go back to the very first step, and we wait for the next adventure. Or you keep going. You overcome your fear, and you meet the mentor. Now, meeting the mentor means that it could be the mentor inside you, or the mentor, a mentor outside of you. I'm just going to check this chat box here because someone is adjust the screen. The slides are not fitting on the screen. We can't see the far left. Okay. Let me just see if I can. You can talk to me. It's probably easier if you talk to me. Is that any better? Michelle, is that better?
It still doesn't appear to fit the screen properly.
Okay, let me make this a bit smaller.
But I'm looking at it on an iPad, so I'm not sure if anyone else is having a problem with it.
How's your view?
My view is perfect. I'm on a MacBook laptop.
Okay, maybe it's just me then.
Okay, so I'll keep it the way it is, and then I'll send you the I can send you the video later on. Okay. So you're meeting the mentor, and you can go to an external mentor, or you can go to the mentor inside of you. Now there are 4 thresholds. The first threshold you need to cross. So if you're going to give it up and go back for a new adventure, you're going to do it before you cross the first threshold. But if you've overcome all your fear and you said, yeah, this is what I want to do, you're going to cross the first threshold into the adolescent stage. A lot of people get stuck in this stage, and they throw tantrums like teenagers do. what we've got to do is we've got to commit to change. We decided we're going to go forward. So in order to go forward with something new, we have to make some changes in our life. And we start experimenting with some new conditions that we find. But this is the dragon's lair. This is where all the trials and tribulations, if you thought you had trials and tribulations before, oh my goodness, wow, they come here in the teenage area. So we have to understand that this is going to create a lot of havoc in our life, a lot of change in our life. And are we ready and prepared to make that major change? So are you going to meet the temptation, or are you going to go back to a brand new adventure, cross back over the threshold and start again? In order for you to cross the next threshold, it's what we call the apostasis. And the apostasis means there's big change. When you cross this, it's like you're standing on a precipice, on this huge cliff, and there's water below you crashing. The waves are crashing on the water, and you've got to jump across from this side to the other side. In order to do that, you have to, something has to end. Something has to die, so to speak. Not a person, not a human, but a behavior, a belief, or plural, okay? Something has to change. When you have decided, yes, this is it, you're in your special world. And we cross the apostasis, we sail right across that precipice, right across it and onto the other side, into the young adult. And the young adult is where we accept all the consequences of this new life. It's the ultimate boon. It's like we've got the Holy Grail, we've got whatever that might be for you, the Holy Grail, we've got it. We have got it in our hands. And there is no way I'm going to return. We refuse totally to go back. There is no way. I accept all the changes. I accept all the new challenges and the rededication, and I take magic flight. When I take magic flight across the next threshold, it's because I've made it. This is it. I've made it. And when you've made it and you cross the next threshold, you go into the master of the two worlds, the ordinary world and the special world. And then you have the freedom to live as you choose to live. And then you're on to the next adventure. You're evolving and you're growing. So with a combination of the Enneagram and the hero's journey, I've created this series. These are some people that are charismatics. You will recognize those people, and when I start to explain more about those the charismatic people, you're going to understand why those people. So we've taken I've taken here people that you're well known, of course, and people that you recognize. So these aren't the characters that they actually work in, but they're the individuals. It's their behavior. They're very, very charismatic. So the treasure is in the story. I want to share a story with you right now. And the story is about Paula. And Paula is, she's an experienced nurse and has been for many, many years. She's worked in the field, mainly in geriatrics, helping people to rehabilitate after accidents. She's also worked on many of the hospitals across many years. She had always loved her job, even considering the long hours and the demanding shifts. As she climbed the ladder, and the higher she rose within her nursing accreditations, she began to feel that political influences within the hospital was taking its toll and impacting her ability to care for her patients proficiently. The way she believes, has always felt care should be. She found that voicing her concerns seemed to get her nowhere. In fact, her concerns seemed to make her seem militant in some way, and she was viewed by some of the senior staff as unfavorable. Over the years, She'd been the person that everybody turned to in their troubles. And now, in retrospect, she felt it was all one-sided, because as more and more pressure was put on her and her stress levels were off the chart, no one seemed to be there for her. Where was her support now that she was hurting? She did her best to continue in the role for another 6 months or so, but eventually she decided to take some time off, totally exhausted and depressed from the whole situation. And yes, there was some relief, but she couldn't help but feel a little lost and isolated. She's been helping others all of her life, and now what? The more introverted she became, the more tense she felt. And she felt it in all her relationships, especially that one with her husband, because she felt she didn't have a voice. And anyway, who listened? A few weeks into her break from her work, she was beginning to feel quite sick. And that's when she knew she simply could not go back to that job. She knew it would challenge her financially. And of course, all her life, she gave such vital care to others. It became obvious all at once this would take some adjusting. But finding her purpose changed everything. So the nurturer is the helper, the caregiver. We all have light and shadow in our personalities. So in light, the nurturer loves people. They're naturally emphatic, sensitive to the needs of other people, help them feel understood, love children, and love Mother Earth. In shadow, they can be overgenerous, overcaring, overindulgent, and giving too much to others, too much love to others, which means there's nothing left for self. They believe that to get love, you must meet the needs of other people. And the compensation means they get personal fulfillment, and indirectly through meeting the needs of others. That's where they feel loved, by meeting the needs of others, because the recognition they get from others makes them feel loved. Their basic desire is to be loved and needed. The key motivation is to be loved, to express feelings for others, to be needed and appreciated, and to get others to respond. Their basic fear is being unwanted, unloved, and unworthy. So what do they seek? Love. And there are some more examples of the nurturer in the right-hand side of the screen. So how do we get along with these people? How do we get along with the nurturer? They're very sensitive. If you disapprove of something or criticize them, be sensitive. Tell them you appreciate them and be specific to help them rather than chastise them. Share fun times. They love fun. They try very hard to please. So being helpful and understanding to take their interests and their problems, although they probably try to focus on your problems. What they will do, whenever you try to help them out and you talk about their problems, they're going to turn it around at some point because they want to help you. That's what they always do. They always turn it around, make it about you rather than them. They like to be popular, so it's important to make them feel like they're important in your organization or in the family, whatever the case might be. And when you find them feeling a little bit coy or precocious or dramatic, and that's to get attention, be gentle. And if you do decide to criticize, again, just be soft. They love to socialize and they care for kids and the vulnerable. These are kind of people who will work for charity organizations. They might go and work at a hospital, visiting later on in their life. They're good representatives at business meetings as well, because they get on with people. So that was the first charismatic, which is the nurture of the two. I want to tell you another story now about the other charismatic, which is the 7, which is the innocent adventurer, or the enthusiast. We also call the enthusiast. And this story is about Josh. He was self-employed and had a knack for breathing new life into tired products. He'd become an entrepreneur just at the age of 17, preferred to work for himself, and had successfully gone into many small businesses looking at ways to revamp their services and products. He'd market them for them with a fresh approach, and he loved his job. But now, in his mid-30s, he wanted to develop a stronger business foundation for himself. He had to choose whether to extend his business location, which meant having to travel further afield, or join a company working in a similar role. So Josh had also met someone really special and wanted some financial security as they decided to move in together and share a rental property. So debating his options, he applied for and was offered a position with a consulting firm he felt would be a good fit. And it made sense because it was a large corporate organization with security and pathways for advancement. He was so used to taking an instinctive approach to this type of role, making quick decisions and relying on his gut feel rather than a business sense. However, this role took a very different approach. To start with, he had to account for every minute of the working day. And he wasn't used to working in such a regimented way. He conceded to their rules, but felt so lost and unhappy. His flexibility and autonomy for making quick decisions was stripped away and replaced with a pile of documentation and needed to seek approval from upper management before proceeding on anything. He'd always taken pride in his quick turnaround times, but now felt he was stuck in quicksand, restricted at every turn. As people began to notice his reluctance to fit in the organization as they wanted it to, they began to see him as a bit of an eccentric. You see, they all follow the rules like sheep. So much so, he began to dread going to the workplace and felt he was no longer achieving anything of any significance. At his 3-month evaluation, he was shocked by the negative feedback. His new manager said he found him unruly and rebellious. He also felt he wasn't making an effort with his new colleagues, and that the fault lay with Josh because of his inability to embrace the ways of the organization. He felt despondent. He'd always found it very easy to get on with people, always worked hard, and been a high achiever. And now, working for this organization, he felt less than adequate and found himself introverted. He didn't know what to do. His dream had been to settle in to this role, earn a decent wage so he could rent the property with his partner. But now he was reluctant to make that commitment, as he couldn't see himself working for this company for the longer term. He wasn't used to feeling so indecisive. He wasn't used to feeling undermined in his role. Before making a rash decision, he spoke to his boss and decided to accept their offer of participating in a self-development program with the Enneagram and improving his emotional intelligence. Much to his surprise, it all made so much sense. So the innocent adventurer, also called the enthusiast, in light, they're charming, optimistic, love adventurers, spontaneous, energetic, inspiring, and fun-loving. In shadow, they can be scattered, lose focus. They've got 100 things going at any one time. And what happens eventually? Burnout, because they've taken on too much. The challenge is being in fear. The fear of being engulfed by fear and pain or deprivation, becoming tied down. Their compensation is overcommitting, filling their life with plans and visions and fantasies to repress anxiety. Insatiable passion for pleasant stimulation, resisting limits, maximize freedom. All different personality types can become addictive easily, but in particular, the innocent adventurer, the enthusiast, they tend to get hung up sometimes on not so good things. So how do you communicate with this type of personality? When you're establishing a new relationship with these people, it's important to keep things new and different. They love new. These are the people who, whenever the new Apple phone is coming out or the new Samsung phone is coming out, they go on and sleep out overnight to be the first ones to get one. So stimulate their mind and allow them to exercise their talents, and they respond well to recognition. So give them lots and recognize their achievements. Their basic desire is to be satisfied and content with no needs unfulfilled. The key motivation is to maintain freedom and happiness, to avoid missing out on anything worthwhile in life, and to keep excited, occupied, and avoid pain. Their basic fear is feeling pain or deprivation, and they seek stimulation. They get bored very, very easily. If they're in a meeting or a training session or a group and there's not enough excitement in that for them, they have the concentration span of a bird. They just can't cope. So there on the right-hand side, you've got more innocent adventurer types that you will recognize there as being the outgoing, pioneering, enthusiastic type individuals. How do we get along with them? All right. They love action. These are the guys and girls who jump out of airplanes and bungee jump and shoot the rapids and all sorts of dangerous stuff. They love danger. They love that adrenaline rush. So they'll always take up the opportunity to do that. You want to engage them in stimulating conversation and laughter. Appreciate they've got grand visions. Always have got some of this grand picture, and they love to share their visions. So listen to their visions and encourage them along. Don't try to change them. You will never change them. Never, never, never change them for who they are. They have real finesse with others because they are people magnets. People love to be around these people. Give them the freedom to do what they do best, which is inspire people. They love to inspire people, to take people on adventures, especially not just in the mind, but on actual adventures as well. They don't do very well in repetitive roles, so they don't like to be told what to do. Give them the freedom to be inventive, and they will excel. Some of their favorite movies, you might recognize some of these if you think that you are a charismatic individual. Steel Magnolias, The Color Purple, Boy Meets Girl, or Harry and that's one with Meg Ryan. Robin Hood and Harry Potter suite, of course, and Star Wars. So they're the different movie types that you'll find these people love to watch over and over and over again. So that's it in the nutshell for the types. I wanted to now to encourage you to share or to ask questions or anything that I have covered so far. I'm just going to stop the share and let's have a bit of a chat. Is there anything that you wanting to ask me? They must have some questions there. Please feel free. If you like, at this point, I can stop the video. If anybody wants to share, they don't want to share that on a live video, I'm happy to do it for you.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And a lot of that resonated for me, and sort of that adventure, and then sort of stopping yourself. How do you know when you like? How do you get yourself to a point where you know if you're meant to go back for a new adventure or continue through for the reward of the current adventure? I know that's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question, but it's an easy one. Okay,
Yeah.
It's about the self-awareness is self-awareness is 95% of the journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so we there are 9 types. There are 9 points on the Enneagram model, but you are all 9 types. You're all of them, but not all together. We lead with 2 or 3.
Okay.
So whenever you keep going back to the start again, you keep going back and you start and you keep going back and you go, it's because it doesn't serve you in some way, or it does. We procrastinate and we self-sabotage. It's really about, who am I? What I want to do? What's my purpose?
Yeah.
My purpose. Is this taking me along the pathway of my purpose? The fear of it not working is huge for all of us, really, in particular, the charismatics.
Yeah.
The controllers will just barge through, okay? But a charismatic, and that's what you are, I think.
Definitely.
I haven't done a survey for you, but I'm sure that's what you are.
I can pretty much guess from what you've been telling me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So you live in a world of fear, a fear of missing out, a fear of not being accepted, not being recognized, and so when we back out, when we back off, what's happening is we're keeping ourselves safe. Our unconscious mind is saying, okay, maybe the anxiety levels have gone too high. There's all this doubt going on. There's all these beliefs going on, and it's all coming up to the surface. So your unconscious mind says you're not ready to cope yet, and they say, okay. It says, okay, let's go. Because what happens is our mind is like a computer. Okay, so we did type into Google. When you type something into your mind, it goes and it searches, or what happened last time, whatever this similar situation came up last time, what happened? What strategy did I use to come out of that safely?
Yeah.
And so we go back to those old strategies. So I'm just going to share the screening, and I'm just going to go back to the hero's journey so that I can show you. So share screen. I'm just going to show you this one because this is a great question. Thank you for.
It's funny. I've even it's a bit woo, but I've even seen like intuitive psychics who like, stop repeating the same thing. Why do you keep repeating the same thing? Yeah. And it's funny that it's come up again here too. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's why you're here. Okay. So remember I said here at the bottom you've got apostasis. So yes. Most of us get stuck in teenager, in adolescence, the adolescence of the journey. Now, you've got to bear in mind that we're actually going through at least 8 to 10 journeys every day.
Yeah.
Work, home, relationships, finance, you name it, training and development, personal. We're going through them every single day. And every single day, it depends on what archetype I need to bring up in me to see that through.
Okay. And
that's why I love the working with archetypes, because it's just archetypal. I mean, it's just, I can, I went through this with Michelle at the gym the other day, and we walked in. I don't know. I guess I spoke to Michelle before this happened. I spoke to her maybe 2 or 3 times for about 5 minutes, perhaps. And when she walked in, I had my mat there, and my mat is this one here. And I handed her the 2, and she couldn't believe it. You know that, because her behaviors are archetypal.
Yeah.
I can see that in the archetype. And so I can see it also for the innocent adventurer.
Yeah.
We get stuck here in the adolescence. So you can't move forward, Jess, until something changes. It's a big change. Remember the precipice? So something has to die. A pattern has to die before you can move forward.
Yeah.
And so what's the pattern?
Yeah.
And that's what the wellness retreat is all about.
Yeah.
So, Evelyn, hi. It's
Hi.
Lisa. I've got a question. This is amazing stuff, by the way. I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. So if charismatics are ruled in a sense by fear,
Yeah.
would you say that overcoming fear is part of moving past that refusal to
Yeah.
proceed with it? Right.
So what's fear? Okay. Let's make fear an acronym. It's a false evaluation about reality. In our life, 0 to 7 is the most crucial part of our life. A lot of our hang-ups all started way back then. It's called the imprint period. All of our fears, many of our fears start there. The next period is 7 to 14, 7 to 15, and that's the modeling period. And the modeling period is where, we're teenagers, we're young teenagers, and we start modeling our friends. We model out, the famous people in our world, the singers, the footballers, or whatever it is, whoever they are. We model them. Then from 15 to 21 plus, we take all of what's happened in the past and we start to create and become the person that we were wanting to become. Except that we've got a lot of baggage from the past. So what we do as a human being, congratulations, you're all human, right? Is we repress it.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps us stuck. It's what keeps us stuck. So we have to look at the fear. And there are strategies that we can use. So one way of putting it is, you are the master writer of your own life. All we do is change the script. We can't change history. History is what it is. But we can change the way you feel about history, which gives you the freedom to live and to move forward on what you want. What's your purpose? What's your passion? It's changing the script, scratching the record. So the feeling of, oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or whatever it might be for you. And it might be all of those, or none, or there'll be at least one. Once I introduce to you the strategies of how you can work around that, then all those blocks are gone if you choose it. So working through the fear, not suppressing it, but working through the fear, Lisa, yes, that's what we need to do. Did that answer your question?
It does, yeah. And talking about in terms of a script, I just sort of have this picture in my head that instead of, every time you get to a certain part of the book, you close the book and then you've forgotten what you've read and you have to keep going back to it. You're actually going to get through the full story and get to the end and have the full life as it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's have a look here. So Jessie, you are a 7. And with the 7,
I am.
Yeah. So the 7 is a charismatic. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Into charismatic people. You're a 7. Look at the image on the right hand side, and the red arrow, the red tip arrow, is where we move to stress, and the right tip, the black tip arrow is where we relax and we actually grow. So if you follow the red tip from the 7, what you'll find, and especially in your form in your career, Jess, you will find yourself becoming, when you're stressed, very perfectionistic. It has to be done right. Totally right. And you don't budge on it. So you leave your beautiful, outgoing, funny, personality and high vibe. That gets put to the side, and you become a perfectionist. Is that right?
To some degree, yeah. Like in terms of making a move, to some degree, certain things have to be perfect before I could make a move.
Yeah.
Out of fear.
Yeah, it has
But
to
that's
be.
what's stopping me, I guess. Yeah, perfectionism.
I mean, even with the, with the socials, okay. I mean, you look at the work. You don't do all of it always, but when you look at other people's work, you say no, that's not right.
Yeah,
like this.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so you're
that's why
going to change it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you're going to. It's because who you are.
Yeah.
Now, look at the 7 again, and go against the arrow to the black. It goes to the 5, which is what we call the observer. I call that the sage. That's where you need to go in order to grow. And we're going to talk about the 5 next week.
Okay.
Okay. But it's really again, it depends on where we are, what we're doing with our life, and if you don't know your passion, if you're not living your passion, if you're not quite sure what that might be right now, find it. We need to find it.
Yeah.
Because when we find it, and we work through the fear, and we keep moving on it, we will be fine.
Yeah.
We need to understand what strategies we can put in place. So I do an intervention which is called downloading the archetype. So, for example, for you, Jessie, if you're a 7, you might decide that what you need to do is become the 5 is also called the hermit. Okay, so imagine back in the medieval times, the 5, I call it the sage. The sage was the one that people used to go to. The sage was the one that had lots of intuition. They lived on intuition, and they received messages, from the universe.
Yeah. So
a 7 typically finds it difficult, for example, to meditate. They can't seem to come down enough. Because they're going at 100 miles an hour. So coming down to a level of a monk locking themselves away to write all the script seems like, oh my God, I can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in fact where you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I've touched on it. I've tried. I've found my own forms of meditation that I love, but I don't really quite get as deep as I need to. Like I always think, oh, this beautiful walk in nature is my meditation, but like I know that I need to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lisa, the fear types are this 5, which is the sage, the 6, which is the questioner, and the 7, which is of course the charismatic, which is the innocent adventurer. So they live in fear a lot. Those 3 types, they kind of live in fear of something. So I've only actually met you twice now, Lisa, I think. Once at the gym and once in Beecroft. So if I was to hazard a guess, being the person you are and the career you've chosen, you'd be more around 5. So this is the like the philosopher. This is the person, a bit like the nurturer too. The nurturer is also, the 2 is also, they're very giving, and they give a lot of love, and they want to help people, and they want to heal the world and, make it a better place.
Mm.
Thanks, Michael Jackson. So you could be a 2, but I suspect you're also in there in the 5 as well. That's so. What I might do, I might send those of you who are here, I'll send you an Enneagram survey. And if you like, you can do the survey and you can send it back to me. And then by next week, I'll be able to let you know, based on your survey answers, what type that you typically act in. So again, we have 3 types, okay? We act out in three types. But we are all of them. So again, it depends on the situation, depends on who's in our life at that time, and what we're trying to do with that situation, and we bring up that archetype. If you're with it, if you're at work, so Jess, you're in marketing, and if and you have to be hype, you've got to be hype, you've got to be on the ball, you got to be quick, you got to keep moving, but you've got to do it right. Lisa's in a very different. She's in a more consulting type career, and she's around
Slower
people,
pace.
she's caring, so she's a very different, much more chill personality than what you would be. So so sometimes, but even you, Jess, you're going to be able to be that nurturing type also.
Yeah.
Where you are, if you have, I don't know if you like babies or not.
I've got a little one, and I spend most of my time nurturing, like when I'm not working.
When you're with your little one,
Yeah.
that's when. So what I want you to do from now, as each week when we go through this, what I want you to do is take what you've learned tonight and implement it immediately. So when you're nurturing your baby, think of that. How different you feel, the things that you do that are different, and how you can include that in your own world, in your profession.
Yeah. I feel really feel like I'm doing a great job in my nurturing, and I do I always feel very confident in what I'm doing there, and it feels great. I get lots back from it. Yeah.
So, and what you want to be able to do is, ultimately, we want to be able to understand all the 9 behaviors, the personality type behaviors.
Yeah.
Because when I know what behavior, so, I always say, because I'm an 8, right? I'm an 8 with a 7 wing. But I'm also I also do 1 very often, and 5. But when I'm in that archetypal mode of whatever that might be, I know when I'm in that mode, and I know what I need. So the idea is, if you know the different types and the behavior of those types, they have different needs at different times. I can't give you the same need all the time, because you're different.
Yeah.
You're feeling differently. So the idea of this is to understand all of the types. There are actually 54 types. We'll do that much later on, but just 9. And if you've ever worked before with Myers-Briggs or disc profiling or any of those personality profiling, I used to train disc as well.
Yeah.
Many years ago. I want you to think about the Enneagram is disc and Myers-Briggs and all the rest on steroids.
Yeah.
So for me, I work in property, a lot of property people, and I say to them, your basic foundation, your foundations are disc, okay, profiling, or Myers-Briggs profiling.
Yeah.
But when you're building the whole masterpiece, it's the Enneagram. It's the whole picture and beyond. That's what the Enneagram is for me.
So can I just ask, so is it about learning the whole Enneagram and then acknowledging what number you're at, and then if you need to pull from another part, like to say, right, well, how about during this time I need to pull from another number, or be another number? Okay.
So we slide.
It's taken me 50 minutes to get to that, sorry.
Yeah, we slide from light to shadow in each type.
Yeah.
And when I say download the archetype, what that means is, so for example, I'm an 8, as a knight or a protector, they call them. And if you look at that stress and growth Enneagram there, you'll see that the 8 going with the arrow goes to the 5, okay, with the red tip, which is the observer or the sage. In order for me to grow, I need to go to the 2. Now, it's taken me, I'm 67 now, and it's taken me until 10 years ago, I would never go to the 2. And I didn't know really why. Well, I thought I did, but I didn't really know why until I was being coached by someone who was using the Enneagram structure on me. So we walked around this mat. This is my mat. So this is a 3 by 3 meter by 3 meter mat, and I have it on the floor, and I walk around the mat with the client. And so they took me. They said, okay, and we discussed a few things, and they said, okay. So I started walking the line. So I would walk the line with you towards the 2. That's what they did with me. And I stopped in the middle. I went, no, not going there. And we won't go into the reasons why, but I went into the reasons why then, and I went, no way, no, excuse me, but stuff that. I'm not going there. Then I realized my problem when I was growing up. I thought my mother was the problem. My father was a very, very beautiful, beautiful, nurturing individual. I can still see him now. He's got beautiful sky blue eyes. He was so loving and caring, but he's an Irishman, and he used to drink. And she was a fiery redheaded Irish woman, and she used to beat the shit out of him when he was drunk. So, and I used to blame her. I used to, for me, for different reasons, I used to blame her. But she wasn't my problem. She wasn't my problem. Not until I was on the Enneagram. And what happened was, I come to realization that what happened is, when I was a little girl, I used to go run and hide in the bedroom. I would put my hands over my ears and my eyes, and I just wanted to go away. I said, when I used to say to myself, why doesn't he stop her? Why doesn't he stop her? Didn't want him to hit her. I just wanted him to stop her. And so the beliefs, that I had around that was, and I didn't have very good relationships whenever I was back. I didn't give the relationship time. Thought what happened back then. And I realized then that it wasn't her, it was him. So I seen him as weak because he wouldn't stop her. Yes, Lizzie, I know, Lizzie, I'm a drunken old bastard. I know, Lizzie, I know I'm getting what I deserved. And it's like, oh my God, Dad, stop her. So I loved him, and I still love him very dearly. But so as a child, we create these beliefs in our head to try and survive. So what did I turn out like? I turned out like Lizzie, my mother. Not quite as drastic as her, but I became very, very, very aggressive kind of young lady. And I wouldn't take anything from any man, and I had all these, crazy beliefs going on. And it was because I had to stay strong. I had to be strong, because I wasn't gonna let anybody penetrate my barrier. But in fact, he was the problem. And when I realized that, it was like, oh my God, like my shoulders, I had this huge lift. Wow. Oh my God. Now I understand why all that happened. I know why all that happened all of my life, and I never knew why that happened. So when we're children, this is where it starts. And then as we grow, it becomes a snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger. As it rolls, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger until it's just such a big size, and it puts pressure on us, and we're stuck in quicksand and a quagmire. We can't move because we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. Do we? We don't know.
No.
So this is about understanding the different strategies to work with behavior. I'm not an 8. I'm not a 2. I tend to use that archetypal behavior a lot, more than anything else. But that's not who I am. It's not about stereotyping you, about you're that, or you're a 7, all right? You tend to work from the 7 more than others. It's more comfortable for you. So it's about understanding when you're in that archetypal behavior, what do I need to give you, to offer you, to allow you to express or believe, or maybe I don't allow you to do any of that. Maybe I've pulled you up, and I have a coaching style, what I call it's a bit of tough love. Okay, so in the medieval days, whenever they the knights, they would duel, and they would slap one across the face with a steel glove, right? I have that approach too with some clients, because if I think you need shaking, oh my God, I'm going to shake you metaphorically. I'm going to shake you because maybe that's what you need. As a nurturer, you think, oh my God, she couldn't do that to me. Well, you know what? Sometimes I do. It depends on what's happening at the time. So it's about learning strategies of how to deal with. And when I started doing my personal development, I had 2 children. I was 33, and it changed my whole. I had my second child. I changed my whole way of being a mother. A whole different way. I did 360 degree. I swear to God, totally opposite direction to what I was.
Yeah.
Before then, because in this, I'm an NLP master practitioner, and so I use NLP, just neuro linguistic programming, because it's about mind. It's about we have neurons and dendrites, and they're firing all the time, and so what we and our habits, our beliefs, they're it's like a pattern. Like this, we have it's like a GPS. To go from here to work, the GPS will take you the same way every time, right? Same way every time. Well, that's a belief. That's what a belief is. Okay, we go the same way all the time. In order to get there, I've got to do this. But sometimes we need to detour. We don't like detouring. It's going to take us longer, or it's or shorter, but it's a rough road perhaps. Okay, so it's about changing that pathway from here to there, that you do the same thing all the time, over and over and over again. We've got to put a break in that. We have to scratch the record and give you different neural pathways to achieve the same thing in a much more pleasing and satisfying and peaceful way, feeling content with life and fulfilled.
Yeah,
that's what this is about.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So somewhere in amongst all these numbers is your true self.
Yeah. These numbers, it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. It's experiencing all 9 of them. You will experience all 9 of them and understand why you favor some more than others. And by the way, yeah.
Sorry, are the ones that we favor basically the ones that are our coping mechanisms?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you know what number you favor, you get a clearer idea then of what. Yeah.
And it's not about changing who you are. It's not. It's about changing the way you feel about what's happened to you in your life. So the emotion that used to be attached to that thing that you kept doing over and over and over again because of this trigger that someone triggered you, that's flat, gone. The emotion around it, the baggage is gone. It's gone. It's still there. It's still memory, but it doesn't control you anymore. It hasn't stripped you to your power. What happens is you take your power back. It's your power. And when people have hurt you and continue to hurt you, whilst you are still hurting, they have the power over you. They have the power. This is about taking your power back. This is your life. It's your birthright. It's your power. So it's learning how we can take it back without destroying the world. Taking it back in a way that it's good for me, it's good for you, and it's good for the greater good.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to me now. I wasn't understanding it at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so it's already time. If there's any other questions before I wrap up, if you're wanting to me to send you some more information in the Enneagram survey, you're welcome to send me a quick email or a text. You've got my number and email. Excuse me, and I'll send that through to you tomorrow. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to hang back and chat to me, or you can contact me tomorrow and we can have a chat about it. I'm not working tomorrow, so I'm working from home.
Thank
I
you.
don't have any questions.
Okay, cool. So Michelle, are you still here? Looks like she's gone. Probably because I told her I was going to send her send her. Let me just take off this what do you call it? Take off the, oh, here we go.